Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number 2001AV. This is a mill finish latching panic exit saddle threshold with a vinyl insert. This is a sample piece. It is literally just a sample piece for purposes of this video. This is a fairly common threshold. It's a threshold that can be both a lifesaver, and it can be something very effective at sealing your door. It can be something that will give you both of the above at an economical price. Let's start out with why it's a lifesaver. That pertains to the dimensional properties of the item. There's an image below this video showing that it's 5-inch, and that's going to make it very compatible with typical aluminum storefront doors, hollow metal frames. But if you have an undercut that is now very small for whatever reason, the door might be long, the concrete pad may have moved, the concrete pour may have risen higher under the frame at the opening than it ought to have. That's 1/8 of an inch there. So that means with that 1/2 inch overall height, you're going to be able to have like a 1/4 inch undercut, whereas a typical undercut will be much greater than that. So this might be a lifesaver in the sense that you can still get a bump up threshold and work with an unusual undercut. Aluminum storefronts generally have a smaller undercut in my experience, and this works out real well with those. Now the A stands for mill aluminum finish. Let's back up a little bit. I said that it was an excellent seal, and it is. A bump up style threshold gives you a very positive sort of seal when the door closes, and this will be generally used on an exterior door that is an outswing door. Okay. So, back to the finishes. A in the part number, 2001 is representative of the profile. The A means mill aluminum finish. This is just aluminum with a mill finish on it. The other options will be D for dark bronze anodized. It'll be G for gold anodized as well. The V in the part number means vinyl. Vinyl is the material that you're going to use. Vinyl is the material, in my opinion, you're not going to use. Although you might want to use it. Why would you not use it? It's the least performing of the 3 available options. Vinyl is terrible with exposure to cold, extreme temperatures, exposure to ultraviolet. You would only really use vinyl, I suppose, if you had, if it was a question of economics, in my opinion. This would be the least expensive way to go. Would not be the one that I would personally want. The other options which are better, certainly, would be the T, a thermoseal, a synthetic rubber, a rigid plastic sort of material, yet flexible, available from Pemko. So it'd be 2001 AT. I would use that if I had, if what was more important to me was longevity of the health of the seal rather than the economics of the seal. P for pile. It'd be a 2001 AP. A very soft pile material is available as well. I'd probably opt for the pile if this door had a lot of traffic on it, because pile is good at sealing, but it also doesn't present much of an obstacle to a door closer closing the door, whereas a thermoseal could, if in an improper installation, because it's certainly more rigid than pile, will expose you to the concern of make sure the door still latches when you're done. If I had a big box store and I had 3 pair of doors on the back wall, emergency exits, those doors are never opened really except to test them or an emergency. I'd probably opt for the thermoseal, longer lasting, going to give me a better seal. The doors are always closed anyway. The front door of that same building, I'd probably use pile, open all the time kind of thing. Now, they say that this is a latching panic exit saddle. I would just call it a bump up and leave it at that. What they mean, though, is that if this was a bump up style that had a return that came back down rather than just a butt edge like this, you could incorporate the compatibility of the bottom latch of a surface vertical rod exit device to the actual profile of the threshold and use the profile of the threshold as the bottom strike of a surface vertical rod exit device. That big box door, you've got 3 pair of doors, you've got surface vertical rod exit devices on all 3 of them. You could use a threshold like this, but probably not this one. I don't, you could, I suppose, surface mount your bottom strike onto this, but it wouldn't be my choice for doing that. A latching panic exit saddle is so that you exclude the portion of that bottom surface vertical rod latch assembly, the strike itself, from having to install it. So I probably wouldn't opt for this in that case, but I would opt for this if I had a small undercut and it was just a rim device, let's say. Now, with this sort of threshold, I like to give myself a door sweep right out here as well. I don't want to have the vinyl act as the barrier of moisture, temperature, air from getting in. If it's already here, I've got water in my opening. I want to stop it out here. You might add a door sweep or an automatic door bottom that could be mortised into the bottom of the door or even on top if you're a belt and suspenders kind of person. But I want to be able to stop it out here, so keep that in mind as well. Generally, using this in conjunction with this is a good option to go with. Available in several different lengths. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces, and simply indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to cut the material back to. Now the reasoning is if this was the genuine article, let's say a 4-foot piece, you'd have a countersink about 4 inches from the end. Now, speaking of countersink, the screws would be included naturally. They're about a 10 by 1.5 inch flathead sort of wood screw with a Phillips drive. But if you had to take that 4-foot piece and cut it down to, say, 42 inch, you would eliminate that first countersink that's there. Okay, so you're going to be stuck cutting it down, which may be an issue, maybe not. Trimming the insert, not a big deal. That's just a utility blade. But you're going to have to drill a hole and countersink a hole. And you want that hole countersunk because a threshold like this, especially a bump-up style, is going to take a lot of lateral force. And if all you've got is a poorly drilled hole, it's going to work that screw and its anchor out over time. There's no doubt. There's countless thresholds that we have all walked over, and you can hear it clank when you walk over it, and that's because the installation has failed. So if you're going to cut it to length, no problem. Just be sure to give yourself the best option. And if I am installing these, when I do, I don't use plastic anchors. I don't use the screws provided. I always use, and Pemko can supply these for a small additional charge, machine bolts, like a 1032 machine screw, and then lead anchors, where I'm going to drill a hole into the concrete, I'm going to seat that lead anchor down, and I'm going to run my machine bolt. And that installation, along with running a bead of caulk, good quality exterior caulk, setting that down, my job is perfect and it's done well, and meaning it long lasting. So if you ordered a custom length, we're going to give you the length at the proper length. We're going to drill and countersink that hole, give you those holes at the proper center to center as well. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the entire Pemko product line. And Pemko, as a weather stripping manufacturer, represents really the broadest spectrum of weather stripping available from a single manufacturer. Not only thresholds, but perimeter gasketing, door sweeps, material made of aluminum like the 2001, stainless steel, architectural bronze. In that catalog, you're going to bump into their full line of aluminum continuous geared hinges, along with their steel vision frames for use in both wood and metal doors. If you have any questions on the Pemko 2001AV mill finish latching panic exit saddle type threshold with a vinyl insert, or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.